Hi, this is Ross Payton, and this is another episode of Role Playing Public Radio.
All right, Ross, breaking out that announcer voice again.
Yep, and this is episode 4, Gaming Quirks. 1 point Gaming Quirks, to be exact. We're going to be talking about the minutia, the trivia, and the BS that plagues games, why they happen, and what we're going to do about it. And I'll start talking normal now, so
Thank you.
that's okay.
It frightens me when you do that, Ross.
Yes, I lose a little bit of my soul every time I pretend I'm a TV or a radio show announcer.
It's a small price to pay for the fame it brings, I'm sure.
Yes. Anyways, welcome to another episode. We're up to around 400 downloads per episode now, getting a little higher.
You like us. You really like us.
We're getting there. So tell your friends. Download more episodes. One bit of business, in case you are subscribed to our RSS feed, you may have noticed I put up an actual play, which is a recording of an actual game session. Little Fears, the controversial little kids horror game. It's for adults, but it's about little kids, and it's very spooky.
But I'm sure you didn't listen to it. I mean, I'm not in it.
Well, it's gotten a good number of downloads, Tom, but I'd like to hear from you if you want that on the same RSS feed, or if you want us to cut out with the actual plays, or if you want more. We like to hear it, but
really, let us know.
Yeah, anyways. So we're going to be talking about basically the really minor stuff that can play games. And by minor stuff, I mean the times when your game just gets bogged down in something that's absolutely meaningless.
Bogged down by bullshit is basically the theme of this.
Yes, that's true. Anyways, for example, I'm playing right now a GURPS game, 3rd edition, World War II. No sci-fi, no magic, just real people, which is weird. You know,
that is weird.
Yeah, and I'm
not something I would be involved in. But.
Exactly, but I'm playing a 25-point character who's a Jewish Polish doctor hiding out from the Nazis. Obviously, they're not Poles, and the Jews aren't too popular.
But when you put them together, that's Nazi bait right there.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, I'm hiding out, working with the resistance. And the GM a little while ago announced that basically this Panzer's driving through. We're in Harlem, the city in Europe, not in New York City.
Yo.
And a Panzer was rolling by, and the vibrations knocked all the glass off nearby, destroyed some of my medicine because I failed a luck check. And this just. I became obsessed with Panzers breaking glass and just breaking glass in general because it was. It boggled my mind, and I was very angry about losing those bottles of medicine.
Kind of like that same time you ordered from Long John Silver's, and the meal came with a drink on the picture, but you raised hell when you found out the drink was actually extra.
Yeah, the picture was there for promotional purposes, I think. And
Ross asked for his money back.
Yeah.
But yeah,
thanks for sharing that. That makes me look like, a neurotic person who...
Anytime, home slice.
Yeah. Anyways, so it became a running joke in the game as anytime glass was even mentioned, I was like, ah! I started, going into psychotic fits. So it inspired me to come up with this topic for the show. So we're going to be talking about basically the minor stuff that really makes games suck. So,
and both the GMs and the players are guilty of this.
Yeah,
like most gaming crimes.
Well, yeah, it obviously has to be someone at the table. It's not like the written rules could ever contribute anything negative. We all know they're perfect and
infallible.
Yeah, infallible. That's a good point.
Sermon on the Mount kind of stuff.
Yeah. So. I think the first thing is obviously shopping trips and loot distribution, which is
reallocation of resources.
Yeah, which is of course most prevalent in D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, but in many other type of games where obviously you loot the bodies, you got to figure out who gets what, and it's just especially in 3rd ed 3.5, it just seems to be players. When they get above level, 3, they have to figure out what kind of magic items they're going to get. They have to go to the magic item store. They have to buy all this crap. And there's so many source books. There's so much crap. You spend hours over this. It's annoying, especially as a GM, because you can be like, all right, we're going to be playing. We only have a few hours where all of us are able to play and have fun the entire week.
But first, we have to go to Macy's.
Yeah, first, that's a good way of putting it. And it's stuff you could do on your own. I mean, players could look this stuff up on their own, figure it out, or just, you don't need the most optimal gear, because most games I've been in, you aren't even tested to the limits of your abilities or your character's abilities.
And of course, and it's not easy to get out of, because, hell, you do the most easy thing and say they don't have it in stock. You do that too many times, your players are going to start to wonder, like come on, does the little shop keep selling the invincible magical items not have anything this week?
That's true. It's just really frustrating, especially when I ran an epic level game. Oh man.
Well, first of all, Epic's just a whole other bunch of bullshit.
I heard Fourth Ed's going to fix that, and I'll try it out. I'll be one of the first ones to experiment with Fourth Ed. But in Third Ed, Epic is just
Epic games are one thing that makes Ross cry.
It was actually kind of fun. I mean, in one session, we had a 2-session battle. It lasted, I think, about 8 hours.
Oh yeah, we were assaulting the Illithid city.
Yeah. And I just grabbed as many epic level monsters, hundreds of them, and they had hundreds of followers, and they all had epic leadership, and it's just like,
leading to the battle with the Elder Brain.
Oh, man.
And we still talk fondly about it.
That was the only time they even got close to, we were using magic points instead of spells per day, because that was a little easier. And that was the only time in the entire campaign where any of them dipped below half magic points, or half hit points, or half anything. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
And forget, we use just about all of our resources in that.
Yeah, that was the one of the things, and it took 8 hours for them to get down to that level. I mean, so you can see this stockpiling of crap is unnecessary, because unless you're doing an 8-hour battle, the PCs don't need that much stuff. They don't need that much treasure. They don't need all those gadgets.
Or bookkeeping, for that matter.
So that's the first thing. And players are just, I don't know, the system, when each source book has like a third of its page count to magic items and new spells, and new prestige classes for that matter, that players are like, ooh, that's shiny, I must have that. So,
you might as well get a spreadsheet out at that point.
Or better yet, go to the internet. There's going to be some nerd out there who spends his life doing that, and he will have the optimal character thing.
And of course, the books are bad enough, but like when people start bringing internet stuff.
Yeah. When you need an Excel spreadsheet to figure out your character's loot and his magical something's wrong.
Something's wrong.
So just go to the Wizards of the Coast character optimization board and pick their brains and get steal from them. I mean, it's better that you spend that time doing something other productive, like playing Minesweeper at work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Solitaire.
Exactly.
Or Spider Solitaire.
Yes.
Whatever the hell that is. My mother plays it all the time.
Really? Thanks for sharing, Tom.
Hey, I'm here to share information.
And of course, another time waster, another quirk of gaming is the red herring, which is, of course, a classic plot device in most narratives, especially mystery narratives, but of all types, movies, TV shows, novels, whatever.
Fighting the communists.
Yep. No, red herring, Tom. Do you know what a red herring is?
Maybe I do.
Yeah, I don't think you do. Anyways.
That's not what this show is about.
Yeah, a red herring is, of course, a fake clue, a false lead, a dead end. And in games, that's, if every single clue they have is absolutely vital to solving the case, then the players are going to, make certain assumptions.
The one time you throw in a minor clue, I'm quoting, quote marks in the air here, clue, they can go after it for hours.
Yeah. And
you don't want to just say, that's not important.
Yeah.
You don't want to say it.
Or it couldn't even be necessarily a red herring. It could be a legitimate clue, but they misinterpret its value. And I know, God knows how many times I listen to you monkeys playing at the table, and you're just, you have the plot all wrong, and you're just like, oh my God, we're going to die because of this. And I'm just like, what the hell? How did you come up with that? That's a different plot than I had. We're playing in different...
Maybe perhaps it was a better plot than the one you thought of.
No, all my plots are better than anything. Anyways, the problem is, the GM can't just spoil it for them, because then there's no challenge. But on the other hand, the players just obsess over this, and the red herring just kills the game because you waste so much time and you can't get to the cool stuff.
And let me guess, it gets to the point that you just want to stab a pen into our hands and say, move on.
Well, I'm honestly, my frustration isn't probably as much as you guys is when, or the players, when they realize that they've wasted all that time. I mean, like this summer at Gen Con, I was playing a Delta Green game, and we were trying to track down the serial killer, and we basically spent so much time searching for clues that...
Oh, yeah, you couldn't finish it.
Yeah, because basically we had to wait for the killer to do something, because the killer was going across the country, and we had no reliable way of tracking him, because we're Delta Green, we're an illegal operation, we can't exactly put out APBs. I think that was the main reason. So... we couldn't look for this guy, and we couldn't find him because, it was across the entire country. There's like 4 of us. So we just spent our time tracking down every possible lead, and we wasted all the time. Basically, we couldn't give the GM time to speed up the timeline of the game. So.
And I remember when you came back, you looked like you had been stood up by a date when you got back to the hotel room at Gen Con.
Yeah, because there's 2 sessions, and he said, "Oh, we'll be at the done of it." And like, I find out he just spoils it basically because we play from like 10 until like 4 in the morning, and he says, "Oh, well, you got about 2/3 of the way through." And the third part, man, whoa, cults and monsters and all kinds of crazy crap.
You'd all get laid. Yeah. It was huge.
Shit was gonna blow up, and all I can say is the Delta Green Eyes Only book, you need to go out and buy it.
Yeah, that's kind of like eating a whole bunch of Brussels sprouts and liver, and then they say, "Oh, well, we're out of time, but man, if only you had that dessert. It was good."
That's a very, very colorful metaphor, Tom.
Thank you.
Very delicious. Anyways, so that's another thing. And then, of course, there's the player who wants to use every skill or ability, is just focused on their little shtick, no matter what it is. The guy...
This is like the Uber hacker that must hack something, no matter what the situation is just okay, some muggers have cornered this woman in the alley, and they're about to rob her and possibly do something more. Like, I will hack into the crime database to find out who this guy is. Like, who gives a shit? Just take him out.
Yeah, or the player who tries to pick a fight with everything. Because that's all he cares. I mean, and that's an entirely different topic, but just the time you wasted for every other player and the GM trying to keep him from keeping the pit bull from the small children at the park, basically.
Or even worse, keeping the pit bull away from the giant wolf.
Yeah, it's
that's there are players that they want to pick fights with. Like, especially when I played Vampire, and they met the prince of the city, and this one guy decided that he would be good to antagonize the entire gathered elders of the city.
Yeah, and the GM's kind of in a bind because he can't let the game dissolve and just say, "Oh yeah, well you're dead," basically, and it's.
But of course, it also sucks. You can't go, "Oh, they just ignored the little yapping dog." Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, that's because then the players are like, "Oh man, we can't do anything," and that's the other issue of GM NPCs that are crap. The Invincible, the Mary Sue, and that's another topic altogether. But we'll get that into a future.
Or another one of my personal favorites is what I call the expert character.
Yeah,
this is the person. My prime example is. I was running a game, never mind which one, and one of the players was using one of his favorite weapons, which is the Soviet AK-47.
Oh yeah.
And yes, it was a D20 game, so he rolled a natural 1 when shooting at random villain, and I said, "Okay, the gun jams." And he looks at me like I just urinated in church or something. And says, like, "That's impossible. That the Soviet AK-47, the Kalashnikov, is one of the finest assault rifle ever made. It would never jam. It's designed like you could stick it in the mud and it would still fire." And this went on for almost half an hour.
Yeah.
Of him and me back and forth, and me basically saying, "Well, look, you botched the roll. I'm sorry. This is what happens." And he's like, "No." He's like, "No, it would never do it." And I finally actually offered a compromise, like, "Okay, perhaps you just." A shell got caught. You just need to quick, latch the shell out. He's like, "No, it would never do that either." And finally, after an hour and a half, we decided that particular game was now over, and we decided to watch stand-up comedy videos.
Boy, I mean, if the AK is that good, why aren't we using them? I mean,
why isn't everyone who has a gun using one?
Yeah, why don't we replace all weapons throughout the entire world with AKs?
Or what's even worse was the one time I had a player who was actually a hacker.
Oh,
and of course played one that was a hacker and basically kept trying to rub it in my face every time he tried to do some hacking stuff. He's like, "Okay, so here's what I'm going to do.
We're going to write a Perl script.
I write this script, and I'm just like, just roll a D20, damn it."
See, this system is a little simpler than a Linux-based, server or whatever. You just roll a die, and I tell you if you win or you lose. So,
and you're good at it. I applaud you.
Yeah. So there is that, and I think that's sort of the heart of what we're trying to get at is the one player or GM, the one person who shuts down the entire game just because they won't let it go. I mean, basically what you're talking about are people who won't suspend their disbelief, who won't get into the game. And I think the cause of it is basically the game loses focus, or the players, whoever you want to call it, are losing focus. So
yeah, if you're playing and a player suddenly cracks open just another book and starts to read, beware.
Yeah, Tom.
Thank you.
That's a hint. You know.
Are you saying I do that?
Yeah, Tom. You make I think mutants and masterminds characters in every game I run, no matter what's going on.
What are you saying? Are you saying I interrupt your games?
Anyways,
No. We'll finish this. I want an answer, Ross.
I think you're not contributing positively. It's a collaborative medium, Tom. You need to be more involved. None of the other players are making characters.
Maybe they should. Perhaps the game just sucks, Ross.
Oh, ow. You've wounded me, good sir. You wound me in my soul. Well, anyways,
all right. You see, perfect. Thing off topic. We lost our way.
Yeah.
That was my example.
Oh, you're contributing to the show. You weren't just being a jackass.
See?
Oh,
many
I
layers,
see what
Ross.
you did there.
Layers upon layers.
Layers upon layers. Okay, so basically the solution is pretty simple, I think. It's whenever this happens, whenever that you get caught up doing this, you really need to realize that it's going on and figure out why.
In the 12th step, that's the first step. Recognize there's a problem.
Yes, exactly. There's a 12-step thing.
We don't have 12 actual steps.
We have one step.
One step.
That's 1/12 is good.
Well, or I can think of another.
We have a D12 step. You roll a D12.
God. That physically wounded me, Ross.
Yeah. Anyways, well, once you recognize that it's going on, you need to figure out why you want to play, why this group wants to play, what you want to get out of it. And again, we're not going to go into like all the different types of games you can have, all the different types of, narrative, gamist, blah, 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 simulationist. Just figure out what is fun to you and focus on that. Just do whatever you can to cut out the BS and go do what's fun.
And most importantly, but if that particular person continues to be a problem, throw their ass out.
Cannot be emphasized enough.
Don't be shy. If one person is fucking you up, let him go. Yeah,
like the retard killer in the Mask of Nyarlathotep campaign. I'm not letting him back. So
no.
I might run a separate game for him and his group, but that would be, I wouldn't inflict him upon you, Tom.
That truly touches me in the heart, Ross. It truly does.
All right. So that's the main thing right here. One of our comments from our last episode, Logan 9A was talking about, we had mentioned how Call of Cthulhu, you have the tissue paper characters, blah, 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 that, characters die easily in Call of Cthulhu.
Or go insane.
Yeah. And that, you can't get attached to your characters. And Logan said, well, obviously that is a problem. And Call of Cthulhu is just like that. So I've created these alternate rules, Heroic Cthulhu, which fixes that problem. Basically, it's more of a pulp action, Doc Savage type kind of thing. And that's one valid solution. If the game isn't giving you the results you want, you can look at the rules and change them. I mean, there's
rules like rules are not set in stone.
Yeah.
Wait, that just contradicted what we said earlier.
No, not necessarily. It's a house rule.
Oh, house rule.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes. House rules.
House rules
for the win. House rules are a long-standing tradition of all games. Especially
it makes me teary-eyed.
Yes.
It truly does.
Yeah. No house rule. No house rule, no crying.
So be it. I am not crying anymore.
So that's one solution, but the other solution is to game-wise is to simply change the scenario, the adventures you're having. If you don't like if you're having action-packed scenarios in Cthulhu where everyone keeps dying, and you don't like the characters dying, then
do some investigation.
Yeah, like there's a Call of Cthulhu campaign just came out, I think last year, called Tatters of the King. It's investigating.
Ross will be running it soon. We know.
Maybe I don't know. We'll see. Mm-hmm. But it's investigating the King in Yellow, Haster, all the things. There's only like 2 or 3 parts in the entire campaign that could be as deadly as the average encounter in Mass Nyarlathotep.
Yeah.
So if you don't like characters
a
always
Tommy
dying,
gun will not be a necessary piece of equipment.
right? Because it's haster, and you're just going anyways. It's a slow descent into insanity instead of like you die or you go totally crazy. So change the scenario, have a different type of adventure, see if it works for you. But so those are two options: either change the rules or change the adventure if you're not getting the results that you want.
Group.
Well, that's a more drastic one. We're just gonna.
The DEF CON 1 option is change the group.
Yeah, because it is hard to find a good group, but I think in today's culture, it's getting easier and easier to find a new group, to find new players, because you have the internet, social networking, meetup.com, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's new ways to find players, and I think people are more open to RPGs in general.
It's no longer the nerd thing to do.
No, it's still the nerd thing, but nerd is good.
It's a geek is chic.
Yes, geek is chic. That's Wired magazine is so cool. It's on newsstands. I wouldn't say it's ultra cool, but I think players are more open to it. Potential players. So try it out. Of course, my friends are all geeks anyways, because I don't associate with anyone who doesn't play role-playing games. Nerd. So that's how, of course, we're all... If you have any stories of gaming quirks, anecdotes about trivial things that just never die...
the tiny little pebble that derailed you.
Yes. Please let us know. Email us, post a comment on our site, or get in touch with us some other way. Smoke signals. No.
Morse code.
Yes, MySpace. We have a MySpace.
Semaphore.
Send a message on MySpace.
Or semaphore us. Use flags.
Sure. E-flags.
Ooh, E-flags.
Yes. I'm going to go out and get my venture capitalist startup money now.
And you better copyright that right now.
I will.
Hit the copyright
I
button.
just did.
Wow.
Because it's... Okay, we're going to break right now and have Tom's letter in just a second.
Dear White Wolf Storytellers, before I go further with this letter, let it be known that I am referring to 3rd edition White Wolf and earlier, not the new version that came out a while back. I have never had the pleasure of playing the new world White Wolf has created. For all I know, it's a happy, magical place of elves and fairies frolicking in the woods. A place where the sun always shines, and Bill O'Reilly and Keith Olbermann share a 2-man bicycle on their way to a cable news station that cares only for the unbiased truth. It may truly be a utopia, but I do not know. No, this letter is for those storytellers who operate in the old world of darkness. The one with 9-foot blenders of bloody death that are the werewolf creatures, the immortal vampires or the blood-fueled undead superpowers, the mages who can do whatever the hell they want with reality, as well as the wraiths, changelings, mummies, and the other things I am not that well acquainted with. Like many systems I have played, my experience with White Wolf has been mixed with success and eye-bleedingly bad games. Some have been wonderful role-playing experiences, while others have been full-speed descents into mediocrity and idiocy that make MTV look like a Clockwork Orange. While the reasons for the bad games are numerous, there is one thing that I can let you know that truly causes problems in and out of game. That is the penchant to allow a game with players from every sourcebook White Wolf has. I know the temptation is great to allow this. On the surface, it does seem like a cool idea to allow werewolves, vampires, government agents, mages, wraiths, and everything else in the world of darkness to be allowed into the same game. But is that truly such a good idea? Is allowing beings of such different backgrounds and origins to mesh in such close proximity with each other? Well, in the case of a game of nothing but fights, battles, and heavy metal music, yes. Throwing in different creatures into the bowl and pressing puree can be a very fun experience, at least for a one-shot game. But that leads to one of the disadvantages White Wolf has. White Wolf is a social game, meant for as much interaction as combat, and throwing a Toreador artist and a raging Rokia into the same room is like putting 2 Japanese fighting fish into a very small bowl. Blood and tears. To all those storytellers out there who insist on allowing everything into their game, might I offer the following. If you must run a game with everything in the world of darkness and want it to run more than a single session, don't make it about politics or combat. No, make it into a sitcom. That's right, take your Kindred, Mokale, and Project Twilight agents and make them workers in the same office. Each session will be a different experience as beings with origins and motives alien to each other are forced to work on a new marketing campaign for their idiot boss. Or I'll have to pitch in to buy the receptionist a birthday gift and disagree on what the gift should be. You'll have hours of enjoyment every night while having a new experience with each session. And instead of having just another boring combat, how my character kicks some monster's ass story to tell your friends, You can regale them with the story of how your ancient gangrel won the office raffle and received a $10 gift certificate to Steak and Ale.
And we're back. That was a good letter, Tom.
Thank you, Ross.
Look forward to the Monster World of Darkness version of The Office.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be a money maker like you won't believe.
What do you think Steve Carell's character would be?
Him? I'd have to go with the Noisha, the were-coyote.
Really?
Yeah, that's just.
I see him as sort of like an inbred Ventru, or maybe like one of those weird.
Maybe Ventru neonate, maybe.
Yeah, there we go. Because he's not really a trickster now, is he?
Well, I guess
he's kind of a jackass. But
I just want to use Noisha in something. No one ever uses them.
I want all Noisha all the time.
Damn right, man.
Anyways.
But unfortunately, I've heard that an all Noisha gang pretty much turns into an episode of the Tom Green Show.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That would be too much of a good thing, huh?
Yeah.
Too much of a good thing.
Too much of a good thing.
So we have a couple shout outs. Of course, now I'm going to give a shout out to my friendly local gaming store, Metagames of Springfield, Missouri. We'll put a link up on our entry. If you're in Springfield, Missouri, that's the place to go for games, RPGs. They have a good selection of used books, which I peruse.
Nuts good collection of used books.
Nuts good. I didn't know that was an adjective now.
I thought I'd throw it out there.
Okay.
Just fishing.
All right. We'll see if that's a good fishing trip or not. I don't even know what that means.
Okay.
But Metagames is a great place. Good comics, good books,
board
good
games,
selection. Yeah, staff. Yeah, it's nice, open, very clean
Actually,
for a game.
Almost like sterilely clean.
Good, very large, large open gaming area. Good place to go if you're into mini games. 40K.
Oh yeah, they got a lot of that.
Yeah. But not. I mean, it's not just that. It's worth checking out. So if you're ever in the vicinity of Springfield, Missouri, check it out. And Tom, you had a couple of shout outs?
Yeah, well, I'd like to give a shout out to another store in town, Dragon's Lair, for actually getting in the comics I order. The primary comic store, which I'm not going to mention. They might actually listen to this.
Caveman.
Shut up. But they're not too good at getting in the stuff I order.
It's true.
But Dragon's Lair gets him in every time.
It's true.
And also, I'd like to throw a shout out to George Carlin. I know that's weird, but for actually deigning to come to our little pissant, overgrown small town.
Yeah.
On December 9th, it's another one of my young childhood dreams come true, getting to see him live.
I thought you've already seen him.
I have, but I need to do it again, Ross.
Oh, you like a junkie. You need that hit.
Yes, I need my fix.
I see. There's another comic store that just opened up, Ruble Misers, and they seem to have a very good, not pretty small, but they seem to be pretty good about getting comics. Much better at that unnamed comic store that we aren't going to mention at all. That's on. Yeah.
Exactly.
It has a new name now. It starts with.
So we're using the old name.
Yes. So unless you're in the know, you don't know what we're talking about.
But if you do, keep quiet.
And this certainly isn't like a secret code by the Illuminati to transmit messages to agents overseas.
Ross, you have just been marked for death. I hope you know.
Crap.
Or mind erasure.
Okay. I can dig with that.
Okay.
So now, of course, our final part of the show, the gaming anecdotes. We have a couple this week, or this episode.
Ross and I are both going to take a turn here, so.
Yeah, and... Why don't you... Oh, yeah, I was going to talk about a recent one of our newer players. In his first game, when he came to join us, I was running a Call of Cthulhu one-shot, a Delta Green one-shot, actually.
Indeed.
Future Perfect, which is a free scenario on Dennis Detweller's site. It was released with the ransom model, which, of course, you don't care about. Anyways, he was making a sheriff's deputy in the town that this was taking place in, which was somewhere in Death Valley.
Mind you, we had never played with this guy before.
Right. And he makes this black guy named Ernie Hudson, and he informs us that Ernie Hudson has hepatitis C.
And not just informs us, proudly informs us.
Ernie Hudson, he has hepatitis C.
With a flourish, he announces it.
Yes. Over and over again. Ernie Hudson has hepatitis C.
And we're good gamers, but we're all in our heart.
It was a little off-putting.
But in our heart, we're wise asses. So
yes, we take this so seriously.
Hepatitis C became just something we would say every 3 minutes.
Well, yeah, and of course that was his justification to basically die for the rest of the group to save the world or save whatever, to do the right thing.
And hate women. He hated women.
Yeah, I forgot that part. That was pretty amusing because he brought his girlfriend to game too, I think, that session.
Yeah, but he hates women.
Yes, so Ernie Hudson has hepatitis C and he hates women. And but he died a good death to save the world from time-traveling serpent people.
Well, the thing is, he died, but he was almost adamant that he wanted to.
Yeah.
In fact, he started to get angry. I remember one time there was a point he might survive.
Yeah. So that was a interesting way for him to. Plus, his character is very, shall we say, out there, and he kept insisting. I know this is going to sound bad, but he kept insisting, "I'm not racist. I'm not racist, really.
I'm not racist." Like, stupid whore woman.
And he just kept playing his character, informing that he had hepatitis C. So, and that's again an example of someone focusing on a little part of minutia. But I think that was more for him just being a jackass than losing focus of the game. We all had a good time.
And it was a one-shot.
And we invited him back.
Yes,
he's a regular player now, and
yes, he is.
In fact, he's come up with a new phrase. When we were playing monsters and other childish things, he was quick to inform us that there are monsters in the school, Tom.
It was directed at me
Because basically, it was a way to say, don't take this too seriously, Tom. Don't question the logic. And that's a good way of looking at all games.
But now that has become the phrase for just a phrase, really.
Yeah, just ignore the GM who just contradicted himself. Ignore the players, the plot, all the things that don't really make sense. There are monsters in the school, Tom.
Yes.
And that AK-47 jammed. There are monsters in the school, Tom. So you don't need to buy all those magic items because there are monsters in the school, Tom. So
it's beautiful, and I'm forever touched with that.
Yeah, and of course you had a.
Yes, I did. This is another one of those little instances of obsessing over details. Like I was running a game with my own group. I know I have more than one gaming group. It's astonishing.
So do I.
Yes, we are awesome. But anyway, I forget exactly the scenario because that's hardly important. All you need to know is there's going to be a massive action scene involving a bunch of mooks with guns and the players fighting in an office, like a big skyscraper CEO penthouse office. And as I wrote out the diagram of the room, there's a desk here, there's large table lamps here, there's the well-stocked wet bar here, because I'm thinking that's a group that likes cinematic stuff, so we can use the bar for stuff, and we're just shoot it up and see glass and booze fly everywhere, or make Molotov cocktails.
Right. That was the first thing that came in my mind.
Exactly. But one of my players, who shall go unnamed, yes. Well, the thing is, I see him regularly. He might listen to this, actually.
Really, he might be a fan. Has he mentioned?
He has.
Really?
Yes.
We know who you are. Anyways,
but as I was writing this, as I was describing the desk with the black leather chair behind it, he says, "Okay, well, what's on the desk?" So, okay, I get up. Okay, there's a phone here. There's like the intercom receiver, the desk lamp, kind of pictures. But that wasn't. He says, "Okay, well, is there a pen inkstand on the desk?" Like, sure. Like, okay, are they really expensive pens in the inkstand? Like, yes. Okay, yes, there are those. Is like a pencil sharpener? Is it an electric pencil sharpener, or is it one of those hand cranked ones? Like, sure, it's an electric one. And it kept getting weirder from there because yes, okay, then the nameplate. Is it it's like a wood, like cheap wood, kind of like a trophy with a little brass plaque, or is it like marble with the gold plaque on it? It started to get really ridiculous. Soon he was asking about,
wow.
Okay, now what is the desk made out of? It's is it a wood desk with marble stands, or is it all wood, or is it shellacked wood?
Wow.
And that was just the desk. Never mind what happened when I got to describing the big picture window that looked out over the city, or God help me, the bar. But that's...
What's the next bottle?
Exactly.
What's the next bottle?
What year is it?
Wow, really? He asked you that?
He asked me
the entire inventory of the wet bar.
Not the entire inventory, but he asked me does it have vodka? Okay, is it like real Russian vodka, or is it? And I was starting to think he was just BSing, but
being a jackass.
But no, he really wanted to know.
Did he ever justify? Did he use those expensive pins or that name placard to kill somebody?
Well, he used the name placard to bludgeon someone, which was
okay. That was neat.
But you could do that with any name placard.
Yeah. You don't need to know it's gold-plated and wooden or, or it's marble or whatever the hell it is.
I made sure the first thing I did when they killed one of the mooks is as he died, he convulsively gripped the gun and fired a burst over to the bar and shot it to pieces.
That's a good touch. That's like, screw you! You can't inventory my wet bar.
It's destroyed now. Now no one gets it.
That's sort of an interesting. So, is this a reoccurring tendency of this player?
No, that was. Did
he ever?
That was the worst, I think. But he's a stickler for details, and sometimes when he's running a game, that's good. He really likes detail, but never quite to the extent of that.
Wow, that's it boggles the mind. So I guess but again, that may be the reason why he's in the game, because he likes hearing lists and details and descriptions, and
he's also the only one that can draw in our group. So if we want pictures of our characters, we have to defer to him.
Oh, so snap!
He does have a power. He's made himself indispensable.
Oh, wow, yeah. See, that's of course. You see, that's why sometimes you have to deal with subpar players, is because, well, you have to play at their place, or they have the dice, or they have the book, or they can draw, or whatever it is.
Or in the case, remember Ed, they're really awesome cooks and provide you with home cooked meals while we're there.
Yes. Well, Ed was a good player.
Ed was a great player. But I'm just saying that certainly helped his standing. First, it was at his place, but. Oh, man. Some of the food he made while we were there.
Pancakes. Delicious pancakes.
For us.
For us to eat. One last thing. What have you been playing this week? Just to give the audience a little.
Well, obviously, I have my long-running campaign with my other group. I run a White Wolf version based on Gargoyles, the cartoon.
The Disney cartoon.
Yeah, it's actually the longest-running campaign I've ever run. 2.5 years in running.
Damn, that's longer than mine by quite a shot.
Of course, we're now playing a transhuman space with you.
Yes, that's we did that Thursday. We used the D20 modern rules because
GURPS
is nice, but that's not a game you spring on players who've never played it before for a casual pickup game.
Yeah, like a bunch of experts at GURPS. Awesome.
D20 Modern, and D20 Modern is pretty complex too, but we all know it. They only made first level characters.
Character creation was done in about an hour.
Yeah. And that was with only one copy of the book.
Exactly.
So that wasn't too bad. And those are your two games. I've actually, of course, been playing the GURPS World War II game with the Panzers breaking glass. I hate they're always breaking glass. The GM showed me this movie, The Black Book by Paul Verhoeven, showing this Danish woman, trying to hide out from the Nazis, and it showed a bomb breaking in her house and breaking all the glass. I just made me so angry.
There's monsters in the school, Tom.
Oh yeah. Anyways, and the other game, actually, I tried out Monty Cook's World of Darkness. This was actually a very late game. We started at 11. We went playing till 4.
Damn.
Yeah, it was. And the GM's actually very different. He's very much role playing intensive as opposed to stats games and stuff very sort of minimal, very much about the characterization.
Roll to hit difficulty.
Yeah, 20. Yeah. It was very much about building the characters, getting the characters developed, sort of narrative stuff. And it was a very interesting change of pace. I really enjoyed it. I'm playing a vampire. He actually assigned me what I was going to do because he wanted one of each type of character.
Right.
Except demons. No demons. And I'm playing basically a crazy documentary filmmaker with the spirit of a dead 17th century inquisitor stuck inside me. So, yeah.
Party.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting campaign. So
Absolutely.
I'll give you updates on our next session, next episode. And so that's it. I just want to give our viewers a little idea of what our current gaming palette is like. And so that's it for episode 4, Gaming Quirks, 1 Point Gaming Quirks. And this is Ross Payton, of course.
I'm Tom Church, and thank you for downloading.
Yes, and tell your friends, RPPR is out.